Even though I can't see this very well, it's fast becoming my favourite filter. And yeah, I know I've got a blue head. There's a reason for that, guys. You can guess what it is. I'm not bothered, it will fade. So it always does. Well, actually, no, I'm more careful. I just wanted to, like, sort of update my feelings on the petition. If you see it's pinned in, well, it's going to be opposite way. If I sort of point it to this corner on here, it's going to go the opposite way on TikTok. But it's pinned in the left-hand corner. You can see a little code on, which is the link to the petition. One person signed it, and when I say one person, I mean my husband. That's not good, is it? If anyone's considering it, thank you. It was actually me who signed it for him because he didn't have the time to do it, and I knew he'd be fine about it, and he was. So I signed it for him. We do things like that. But anyway, the point is that I have seen, in the last few days, I have seen something on Google and on the different parts of the internet where the government seem to be going ahead with the idea that I actually mentioned in my videos. I've done actually, was it 2 or 3 videos I did last week? I can't remember. It might be 3. But anyway, I'm just trying to remember. I did a few videos, and it was bringing up the petitions against children not, well, putting a ban on letting them actually take the phone to school and back, but they're not actually doing that. They did make it sound like they were, which is what worried me. I know the advantage from experience and other people's experiences on or offline, mostly really my own. And this is why I wanted to petition. Also, I could see how dangerous it would be from having older children where it was in a time where we didn't have phone. Well, they did have phones, but they were just text and bog standard plain text and calling. That was it. It wasn't an internet device. So they are quite a bit older. So anyway, with that in mind, it's different with my son. It's turned me on my head. It's turned my views. I've mentioned this in previous videos. I've seen the advantage. So I have changed. If I can, well, anybody can change a view, and I have. And I decided to set up the petition. But the government seemed to be like doing things the way that they should be, to a point. And I'm not as worried because it didn't sound like it. Well, from my videos, you can tell the way it sounded from the things I've said if you watch them or you go and watch them. You know my worries. So basically, the lockers or hang them in is basically what they seem to be doing. That's a relief to me. But what isn't a relief is it's not where that is. They're not the rules that have been put in place by the government. They are letting the schools decide. My son's school is very strict. They know the advantages. They were in on the, how can I say, not advantages, a plan that I mentioned in my previous videos as well, that I made up with his primary school to help him, since he's further down the spectrum than some people are, not very far down, but enough to make a difference. So basically his schools, as I'll briefly say because I've already explained it in my videos, his 2 schools, the one he was about to go to that he is at now, but back then he wasn't, and the one he was previously at, which back then he was at the time, and they got their heads together with me, and I came up with a good plan. They agreed, they seemed fine, and using his phone was part of his safety, reassurance, stress-free for him as an autistic child. It worked for us. It helps us to not worry the school as well, instead of having to constantly phone up and where is our school, where is our child, sort of thing, is he all right? He was fine. He picked it up quickly, the route from school to home. Like I said, he doesn't have a school bus. I'm just going over this briefly. I don't want to go into too much detail and repeat myself. But what I don't like is the fact that the government's giving the schools decide when his school may or may not decide to allow them to take the children, sorry, just a bit of pain, the children to take their phones to school at all. I really hope it doesn't come to that with his school. Given the choice, I think the type of school where they probably will, but I might be wrong. So let's wait and see what happens. I'm going to anyway. That's for me to wait, and I'm certainly going to do that. But I will be back with an update on that if I feel like I need to. It'll be a quick update. But I'm glad that they're giving schools a chance. So it gives my son's school a chance not to bring a complete ban in. I'm hoping I will take the petition down. There won't be any need for it, and I will take the video down asking you guys to sign it because, again, well, there's not going to be a need for it. If they do, I will probably, to be honest, I might end up having to take petition down anyway, but if they, I'll see how it goes with the government rules. If they do stick to give, and I have seen, you know, the right information where they're letting schools decide themselves, and the school decide that my son, knowing the advantages, not just for an autistic child, any child, especially when they're starting school and the transition from primary school, when they just, if they decide that they're just going to choose the option of letting them hand them into put them in lockers or hand them into an office or a room or something, that's fine by me. But I cannot agree with banning it completely. It's outside of school time and children need these devices. I've got my views on them, you know, I'm not going to go into it, and not this video, but when a child should have them, you know, and that sort of thing. But I think that they are not toys, they are adults, electrical devices. So I think it's, yeah, and they're not just a distraction like the government thinks. Yeah, the government just wants everybody, our children, to be like everything perfect, no distractions, everything in a classroom perfect. You know, they bother about statistics and the future of our children. I'm not going to go into that either. But they're not thinking about the children's safety, the here and now. They are children here and now. They're not taxpayers now. They are children here and now. They're never going to be in a job if they don't have a future or something happens to them, or they may not be. They need to be safe and looked after. They need to travel from home to school safely and back again in one piece. And it might sound horrible, but it's true. They need to get back unharmed and safe. And that may not be the case if they don't have a device like a phone. Now, this is when they get a bit older, it becomes useful. It's not just a distraction. Our government need to realise that it is a safety device. A phone is many things, and it's not just a phone in this day and age. Like I said, it's changed from a decade and a half to a couple of decades ago. Especially in the last 10 years, phones have changed so much. They are so useful, even though they're not toys. So I really think that our government shouldn't give the schools the choice to ban them. And I'm hoping, like I said, that I don't have to fight against my son's school. Now, if they do go ahead and choose that, or the government changes the goalposts like they normally do, and my son ends up being banned, if I can't negotiate with the school, and the school, like I said, it's very strict, I'm not sure if they will go ahead with it, and I'm not sure if they do, that they will negotiate. But what I will do is I'll have to take him out. I won't have any choice. My son, although he doesn't want me to track him and things like that, that stubbornness of a teenager, that's the I don't want to be tracked. I'm trying to get him back on board with that, because he also worries at the same time about his own safety. It's getting lighter for longer, and to be honest, although his school, well, you know, it's safe. I'm not going to go into any school finish and things like that, but you know, let's fingers crossed, guys, fingers crossed. I'm not swearing, it's literally just fingers crossed, in the hope that things work out and I can take the videos down. If not, I might end up with a bit of fight in my hands and removal of my child. I've removed my children, my other children, from schools before when it hasn't worked out. I don't make that decision lightly at all. It isn't one to be taken lightly. But if the school is doing harm, something that could harm your child, or it's something, you know what I mean, guys, if it's something that goes against your child and the family and the parents, and it's not good for your child, who would continue to send a child to a school like that? Certainly not me. Okay, I'm going to go. Bye.